What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 77 of Park to Prem here with Town or Town. Today, folks, it's a special episode, of course, the second episode of the day. This is going to be a shorter one, just as a warning, but maybe you missed the video earlier, the previous episode. It was about 50 minutes long, so I feel like I've earned a bit of a rest today, but regardless, it is a huge episode, but you do have to have seen the video earlier to understand how huge this game is going to be. So we have got one big game. We're also going to have our youth intake today. Of course, in Football Manager 2020, they changed how things work a little bit, so you don't know the exact date. It used to be possible to know. All I know is that every year in March we get players. We knew that, but we don't know when in March it's going to be. So today's episode is going to be a match, and then I'm going to continue forward through this month until we get to the day where the youth candidates come in, and then we'll have a look through them, see who the class of 2028 is going to be. But, well, just looking at things, at least from what we can see so far, we're going to have very good fullbacks, or a very good fullback, a top prospect in the centre of midfield, a good forward, an English striker from Towlaw who's caught the eye, and it's an excellent group of players. So you've got that to look forward to, but of course we have got a game to play prior, and that game is away from home against Arsenal. Of course, previous episode we played 3 matches, the last of those was against Arsenal. We actually recouped £550,000 in sales for tickets for that game, which is a crazy amount of money. Of course, half that money immediately goes to Arsenal, but nevertheless, we are making some decent money this month. An income of £400,000. It's a little bit behind our expenditure still, but we are a club that kind of lives somewhat out of our own means. But certainly just worth being aware of the fact that it is helping our finances, and even if our finances do look quite good, we have made a loss of about 6 million so far this year. So we need all the money that we can get, and cut runs like this are still important to us. Last episode we did leave things off with a very exciting Argentine player who I was keen to have a look at, and that was Adrian Rodriguez. He didn't want to join without a work permit, and we couldn't get him one. So I have decided to continue scouting him, so we'll be able to see roughly how good he is. I'm ready to cry and be very upset about how good he is and the fact that I can't have him. You can see here, our scouts are continuing to look out and amongst the land. They have actually thrown up some more new players, so maybe I should have a look at these in my own time. Callum White here is a free agent, formerly of Birmingham. I mean, he looks like an okay striker. Our analysts have recommended him. You know what? We'll give him a chance. We'll give him a scout. But yeah, you can see here, our scouts, they've been busy. They've spotted this guy, Ombian. He's quite good. That's definitely not how you say his name, but 17 years old. If we were a Premier League team with bottomless pits of money, I'd probably throw £5 million at him. Okay, maybe I wouldn't throw that much, but still, he's quite good. But unfortunately, he's not good enough to justify pulling the trigger on a purchase. Anyway, in terms of team for today's game, we have got the options to change things up, and Shuttleworth's been a bit disappointing lately. Jacobs has played well when we've given him chances. So I'm going to play Jacobs on the right and Kosic on the left. Diawara didn't really impress me. Neither has Sacco as of late. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Reyes back into the team and then swap out Needham. Now, I believe Hugo's going to be back, and I'm completely wrong. He's not back. Right, Vasily, you're playing again. I was getting ready to take Gannon out of the team. I mean, God bless his soul. One of our heroes, I suppose, for many, many years now. I think he's homegrown at club. He's just not good enough for the first team anymore. We've got 18-year-olds who are just dwarfing him. And, well, to be fair, when we took on Arsenal previously, we gave them a very good game. We know it's going to be tough. I highly doubt they're going to play a similar rotated team. We'll hope that's going to be the case, but, well, let's see how we get on here, shall we? I'm going to assume they've probably been playing European football in the midweek, so maybe there'll be an element of tiredness that can be on our sides. I will also hope that Football Manager loads in quickly here. I've still been getting it, and I don't know if it's just me, and I would love to know, does anyone else get their game get stuck at this screen if they leave it running for a while, or even if they don't leave it running, just the game hits a point randomly where your players take forever to warm up? It's like a car on a frosty morning. Anyway, I'm going to cut. We'll come back when the game's loaded. I'm really sorry, folks. I don't know what else to say. Okay, so having sat in about 20 seconds of silence, we are now here looking at their team. They are playing a rotated squad again, Arsenal. I want to check their fixtures real quick. They must be playing a lot of games just in random competitions in midweek. Playing on a Sunday here. So yeah, you can see actually they've played on the Thursday in the Europa League against Arsenal. They are Arsenal against Monaco, and they've got them to play after our game. So we probably are relatively small fry for them. But nevertheless, they've got good young prospects. We definitely have a chance in this game, but away from home, it's still not going to be easy. Let's just give it our all, shall we, boys? The 6th round of the FA Cup beckons. I would love to get there. It would be crazy to get to the 6th round as a League One team, even if we have ridden our luck a little bit. Of course, we've knocked out the likes of Leicester. We've knocked out the likes of Birmingham. I feel like Arsenal, if we omit the fact it's their reserve team, would be a pretty good name to add to that list if we could do something. Although we need to defend set piece as well, and we need Smoljo to step up today. I know I've not seen the comments because I'm recording this before the first video is going up. I know the comments are going to have belittled Smoljo. You guys are going to have ripped into him. The internet is not kind when a goalkeeper doesn't perform well. Just ask Adrian. But no, Smoljo needs to step up, and maybe he can do so, and that could be his redemption arc beginning. He stops that shot there. It wasn't a particularly ferocious effort, but it needed to be made. Now can we go on the front foot? Need him to raise, crosses it in. Is that an own goal? I think it's an own goal. I'm not going to complain. Molineux applying the pressure, raise with the ball in. We're 1-0 up at the Emirates. That's pretty good. I'm also impressed by, it's not a complete sellout, I can see some seats, but I'm actually impressed by how many Arsenal fans have come out to see us. I can't wait to see Arsenal Fan TV after this. If we can hold on to this result, that would be a sight. But we do need to defend here. And, well, Clark out on the right. Going to give it to Revellino. Now back with Clark. Murdoch with it. Hits it. Blocked away. Falls to Williams. Don't let Woods shoot. That is my only command. Duxbury. Back to Williams. Hits it. I mean, Williams as well, I guess. What is it with this Arsenal team and long shots? We've not had a shot yet, and it's 1-1. So I guess we're doing quite well. We're clinical. We've got an infinite conversion percentage in terms of shots to goals. That's the silver lining I'm finding right now. But, oh, I don't think you can blame Smoljo there. I think that's just a really good effort by Williams into the bottom corner. Places it well. But we've not turned up so far. And we all know what it means. I don't need to say it. Some people have mentioned in the comments about the fact they now use the term shouty to kind of describe when they're getting annoyed. If you're wondering where I get shouty from, it's my history teacher when I was at school. A very eccentric lady. She was crazy. She was Iranian-born, but a history teacher, and she was just mad. And she'd get shouty, and she would tell you, "Don't make me mad, or I'm going to get shouty." I feel like there's a little bit of her in me when I look at this Tower Law team. Anyway, we've not defended that well. Smoljo's. Can I blame Smoljo there? It's a free header at the back post, but he's not done well. Oh, I feel like the chance to beat Arsenal was when we were 4-2 up. And I know someone's going to have said, Jack, why didn't you go more defensive in that game? I didn't really bank on our goalkeeper committing 2 howlers in the game. Molineux could still bail us out there. He plays it forward to Turnbull, who tucks it towards the bottom corner, only to have Dewhurst tip it over. Andre Dazelle, can he get it in this time? It's headed away, but only as far as Knowles. 2-1 at the break is not bad. I think when you look at the stats on a whole, there's a bit more concern to be had. I'm going to tell the players to show me something else. Jacobs out on the right played awfully, so I'm going to bring in Shuttleworth for him just right away. It feels like the right move to make. We need our creative force in our team. Shuttleworth, yes, he's been out of form, but he is the creative hub of this team this year. His passing's been superb. To be fair, we're not seeing a great deal from any of our team so far this game. I want to blame Jacobs, but it's a struggle. There's 20 minutes left. Do I want to go very attacking now, or do I just want to change the wing-backs to be unattacking? You know what? I'm going to switch to very attacking, but I'm also going to make a change or two, I think, because Turnbull's been awful, so we're going to bring in Roof for him, and I'm also going to bring in DKM for Kosic, who's been pretty poor out in the wide areas and is, well, he's underwhelmed me, and he's struggling a little bit for fitness. We've got 20 minutes to try and make something happen. We've switched to very attacking. We've changed things up in the final third. What can DKM and Roof do? I mean, they're immediately involved in the highlight, which builds up my optimism. We switch the ball out to the right for Grant, who gets foul. Oh, he doesn't get fouled. He commits the foul. What are you doing, Grant? What are you doing? Why do you hurt me? Right as I make all my subs, this happens. Right. I guess... what do we do? We can't really play defensive here, can we? We've kind of just got to commit men forward and see what we can do. In terms of system, I think at this point we just have to try and force the play down the middle very directly. Let's stop distributing it at the back. You know, I talk a bit about how we play hoofballing, we play quite direct. That isn't strictly true. We just pass it into the space a lot, but with our system, it's offside, thankfully, or that would have been an insane header. But yeah, I know some people have mentioned in the comments how I talk about how direct we play and how we get the ball forward quickly. I feel like the way that we play with shorter passing, but then trying to exploit the wide areas and with passing to space on, does just generally see us play a lot of longer balls to transition the play forward, even though we play on the shorter passing instruction. Anyway, there's seconds left now, so we might as well just throw everyone forward to try and get something here. But a man down, away from home against Arsenal. I don't want to say it's feeling a little unlikely, but it's feeling a little unlikely here. And, well, unfortunately for us, our FA Cup run ends in the 5th round for a second year in a row. And you kind of have to wonder about the what-ifs of the whole situation. What if we had stayed ahead in that first game? What if we could have done more? You can see we receive a little bit of money there from Arsenal for the result, but it's not much of a silver lining. We will also get a share of ticket sales, but... oh, that's just... disappointment encapsulated, I feel like there. That was just not good enough for us, was it? Our first defeat in all competitions in a very, very long time. We now only have the league to worry about. There are 7 games left. We are 13 points clear. It should all be wrapped up. Of course, we're not going to end the episode just here, just yet. I'm going to continue to play through the month of March and come back when we have our youth intake. We'll have a look through the class of 2028. I'm hoping we're going to get a good youth intake because obviously our facilities... in terms of youth facilities have been upgraded. That's not necessarily what I expect to see an upgrade due to. It's more so because we do have exceptional youth academy coaching and exceptional youth recruitment. And also, if we just look at our staff, we do have a new head of youth development. I don't really talk about staff too much, but David Yupp is definitely worth talking about. 20 working with youngsters, 17 judging player potential, 15 judging player ability. Preferred formation is a 4-1-4-1, so we should generally see players come into the team with that as their preferred formation as well. And all in all, he's quite good, and hopefully he's going to be the man to get us a good class this year. So, with that in mind, I'm going to dry away my tears, and we'll come back whenever our youth intake is about to happen. Okay, well, we didn't have long to wait, folks. Here we are, youth intake. It's here. Here is the inbox item that we have just got, and I mean, at a glance, it looks like it could be okay. Let's not get too carried away. In typical fashion, the one amazing player, or possibly amazing player, is the one with a difficult name to say. I'm going to assume that all these players with kind of 2 to 3 star could also be good, so we'll work our way up. Just to check, I don't have a player with the last name, the space, at least in this intake, so there's no son. If you didn't know, there is a chance that you can have a player who shares your last name and is related to you in-game. It's a little bit weird. I've done some videos on it before. Actually, looking at it, we have a few players with 2.5 star potential. So we'll have a look just through all of them, I think. But to start with, let's take a look at these at the start. And we'll start first with Ahmed Al-Treki. Good name. Great free kick taking as well. And at 16 years old, that is a fantastic little goatee he's got going on. He looks okay. He's kind of well-rounded for a centre mid. He's lacking a little bit in the flair department, so he's probably never going to be a great, more attacking option. But to be fair, he looks quite good. Good teamwork, good passing. Could possibly be a box-to-box midfielder in the future. I think that's where I would look to develop him. His physicals on the whole could probably do with a little bit of improvement. But you know what? For what is probably the 4th best player, obviously, we don't know for certain, and the star ratings can be inaccurate. he's not too shabby at all. So we're going to try and get him locked down on a nice long deal. And let's move on to the next player we have, which is Mark Priest, and he is a right back. He's okay, actually. He looks like he could be an okay wing back in the future. Needs to improve his game in a few areas. That work rate could be a bit of a problem. I'm not blown away by this guy. He kind of lacks the natural athleticism for a wing back. When I first glanced at him, I actually thought he might be a centre-back, but unfortunately that's not the case. I'm not going to offer him the same big bonus. I'm just going to offer him a 3-year deal initially. I'm not quite as wowed. And well, now we get on to the two that I'm curious about. So let's take a look at the first. Liam Thomas. Wow. Okay, this guy's good. Good potential, of course. Good heading, which I guess is a nice natural start. Although it's a bit deceptive because it looks like he's got really good aerial ability here, but he's actually only got 7 jumping reach. But nevertheless, as a forward, I actually feel like an advanced forward could be where he ends up playing. You can see, obviously, he's got 7 passing and a few 8s in the physical department, but he's actually very, very well-rounded as a player and as an attacker. So for a young player, that's pretty nice to be able to see. You'll see here we're going to offer him a full-time deal, not a youth deal, because I want him training full-time as soon as he turns 18, which is when he'll sign this deal. But he's okay. Liam here, he's well-rounded. You know, he's the kind of player who could explode in a year or two. I guess, as you know, we've had players of a level similar to him that I remember during our intakes, such as Dale Brodie-Gate, who have gone on to really, really develop. In fact, you can see here Dale has been improving a lot recently. If we just compare him all time, look at the level of improvement that this guy has had. A player who, I think when he generated at the club, I really didn't give a chance. And maybe I was a bit harsh on him in doing that, but you can just see he looks like a really, really good centre mid, and he's the kind of player who I may even have to consider putting into the first team this year. Or not this year, but next year. I feel like his current ability actually is probably a little bit better than some of the players in the first team, but because he's not played on a bigger stage, he's just never really been given that opportunity. Let's just compare him to Needham real quick, just for a direct comparison. And I mean, there you can see the comparison. Yes, he's not quite as good defensively, but he's certainly at a similar level. So maybe we should be giving Dale a chance. If we wrap up the title early, he's the kind of player we might give a bit more game time to. Anyway, the last player we have of the big exciting ones is Matasevic, who has 4.5 star potential. Of course, it's blacked out stars and it could be better, it could be worse. We don't really know. You have to kind of just use these as a guideline. The longer players are at the club and the better your staff are at judging player potential, obviously, the better you can expect these ratings to be. And let's have a look at Ilya here. And wow, okay, 20 flair immediately stands out, although that does give him a bit of a false reading on his vision. Vision here is vision, passing and flair, and that 20 is dragging things up. But to be honest, he's a very, very technical player. He's not the craziest in terms of his physicals, but he's the kind of player who I can expect and imagine will just develop naturally his acceleration and pace if we choose to focus on that. Looks like a really, really good kind of potential centre attacking mid. Could even play as a striker, perhaps. I don't know. When I look at him, I actually think kind of playing down the middle is probably going to be his best bet. For training, I would probably train him as a shadow striker just to help out with his mentals and his physicals on the whole. I feel like shadow striker is really good for more attacking players for just addressing their physicals. But of course, that 20 flair is just really, really solid. So we're going to get him on a nice long contract. Contract extension after promotion, full-time as well. And he looks good, Matasevic. I don't know if he'll necessarily go straight into the first team. I think that might be a bit of a rush. If we just compare him to De Ugo, who's not a dissimilar player, I don't think. I mean, you can see a comparison of these two here. De Ugo we picked up in January. He's 2 years older. And to be fair, Matasevic is probably the better player. Maybe I'm underselling him. What do you think of Matasevic? You can let me know. He looks good. I just wish he was a little bit quicker, I suppose. That would be the big concern for me. It reminds me in some ways of Shuttleworth. You know, they're not particularly physical wide player. And actually, when you compare him in that regard, they're not worlds apart. At 16 years old, I feel like I should be more excited about this guy than I am. A 20 flair is very good. He's got superb first touch technique and passing. A really, really good player. Actually, you know what? I've changed my tune. He's very good. I'm very, very excited. Let's have a look through the rest of the youth prospects here. If we go to the development centre and look at youth candidates, we can take a look at some of the other players that we've not initially signed on yet. So Mark Richardson here, he kind of looks okay. I might offer him a youth contract, but probably not a full-time one. Akel Leby, similar story. You know, he's okay, but lots of ones, and I don't know. It seems like we've got a few very, very good players, and then there are a few players behind them that are not so good. Kemp here looks fairly solid, but his potential is a little limited. He's well-rounded, but I don't think he'll ever play for our first team. What I'll probably do with these players that I'm not going to sign on is I will wait and see what my assistant says in terms of, you know, should we or shouldn't we sign them on. I'm just wondering, actually, about positions here that we might need to get, you know, players to play in. If there's any particular positions we're lacking in the youth team. And to be honest, actually, whilst we've got a few virtual players here and there, it actually looks like, for the most part, there's not any position that we're necessarily lacking in massively. So just signing on the players that we need to probably makes the most sense. There's some good players here, but at the same time, there's lots of players who I'm kind of underwhelmed with. Lintott here actually looks reasonably solid, can play a few different positions, but I won't do anything about him. Joe Callow here, I'm actually tempted to offer a contract to, and I'll tell you why I'm tempted to offer a contract to him, because whilst his overall attributes aren't actually the best, where he's reasonable are the areas that he needs to be reasonable for a wing-back. I think really his off-the-ball and positioning the two big glaring weaknesses, but if he could solve those, he could, you know, be quite a usable player. We won't get him on a full-time contract, we'll just offer him a youth one, but it kind of shows the importance in going through all of these players just to see exactly how good they are. But no, I am underwhelmed for the most part. I mean, we didn't get told it was going to be a golden generation, to be fair, so I'm not sure what I was thinking. I mean, Matasevic looks very, very good, but he's not really the kind of player I needed. We've got very good wide players. I don't know what position I would have wanted. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. He looks good. Maybe I should be more excited. Let me know. What do you think will become a Matasevic? Leave a prediction in the comments of this video if you've got to the end. And we'll see who is most likely to be correct come the end of, I guess, of the series, when he's probably a club legend and I'm left eating my words. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up this video from me today. A bit of an unorthodox one, but of course there was the earlier upload. Tomorrow we will probably be doing one of these later games towards the end of the year. Alternatively, I might just come back for the end of season recap. We'll wait and see. We'll see what becomes of it. But do expect another longer upload, if not tomorrow, certainly the day after, where we'll be doing our typical end of season roundup. We're doing very, very well, though, in League One. Look like we're going to wrap up the title. A shame that we couldn't beat Arsenal today. But I don't know. We've got a very good youth intake once more. You know, I can't complain too much about it. We've got loads of players coming through the youth team. It's an exciting time here, and it's only going to get more and more exciting, I feel like, as our players and our squad starts to take shape. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I know that this last bit was a little bit unorthodox, trying something new. If you would like to see me maybe do this every year, where we do our first reactions to a youth intake, I don't know, maybe it's something we could look to do, but I'm not entirely sure what you guys think of it. I mean, it's a bit of a surprise for me. I can't exactly plan what I want to say when I don't know what we're going to get. But yes, I've rambled on for long enough. Let's wrap things up here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. The end of season is approaching, and I hope to see you for it. It's me, Jack, and I'm out.